Welcome back to the Oshner Andrews Sports Medicine Institute podcast studio. The Super Bowl is in the books. Kind of a good week overall. A lot of content, a lot of cool stuff with Kellen Moore. Not a great game. Love the halftime show. Someone had to tell me.
We spent the whole week only covering the Eagles, so we did it right.
Yeah. No, I thought it was great, man. I thought it was a great experience. I hope the Saints look at a lot of the stuff they were doing with the game day production and steal it. Like those metal gates going into the stadium. I don't know if you guys watching on were able to see them. I don't know what they showed in the intros, but like they kind of had like wrought iron fencing like on the aisle going up, like the tunnel they go down, and like it looked awesome. Like they need to keep those up there. So good week overall. But this is another episode of NewOrleans.Football presented by PJ's Coffee. And if you're looking for a new car, buy it from Map Hours. He's best car dealer in the area, and he'll get you the best prices. And make sure you go check out Matt. Anyways, our first topic today is presented by Shea Bear Insurance, the Earhart Agency. What do you think of Kellen Moore?
It's funny. I don't know, 3 weeks ago I said something to the effect of the one way that the Saints can still come out smelling like a rose in this job. Right around the time Aaron Glenn picked the Jets was, well, if like Joe Brady or Kellen Moore or Cliff Kingsbury goes all the way to the Super Bowl and wins the Super Bowl and they end up hiring him, and this played out even better than that made up scenario. I mean, I feel like if every team had to wait to start interviewing candidates today, I think Kellen Moore's name might have as much buzz attached to it as like Mike Vrabel and Ben Johnson did. It feels like it's been inevitable, so it loses a little steam since we've been talking about it for 2 weeks now. But man, oh man, is it exciting to be the team hiring the guy that just put up 40 in the Super Bowl and did it pretty theatrically. I mean, Saquon Barkley got shut down, and he showed how many other tricks he had in his bag. Jalen Hurts had the game of his life. They were throwing the ball down the field. Steve Spagnuolo, the Super Bowl wizard, they had every possible answer for him. Just couldn't possibly come into this next job with more momentum.
I'm a little disappointed with you right now, man. I'm a little disappointed with you right now. Yeah, I mean, you said 40, like 7 of those were your guy from Iowa. Like I am incredibly disappointed in you.
Fair. For some reason, I thought it was more than 42. I didn't have the number memorized. Yeah. Look,
40 to 22, right?
40 to 22. So he put up 33. You're right. The other 7 were courtesy of Cooper DeJean. But I think he was inspired by. I think Cooper DeJean said he was inspired by Kellen Moore's play calling when he returned interception for a touchdown.
Zach Bond kind of gave him another 7 too. But look, it was a really good game. It was really like I thought Kellen Moore did a great job calling that game, and it just so happened to come on a day where Vic Fangio like had like one of the best game plans of all time. Like I don't even think they blitzed in that game, and like they sacked him like a ton of times. Like it was an incredible performance by that defense. And I thought Kellen Moore had a good game. Like I'm not gonna overhype it. I thought he had a good game though. Like in a lot of stuff that you saw in it, I thought was really encouraging. And as you mentioned, it was a day where Saquon Barkley averaged like, what was it, 2.3 yards per carry or something like that. And they were still able to move the ball and score points. And there was just a lot of stuff happening in space. And the amount of motion was mind boggling in this game. It was over 50% of the plays featured motion. And they just looked really, really good overall. And it looked put together. And when you got your right hand, well, I guess in Kellen Moore's case, your left hand tied behind your back, he was still able to throw punches with the right and make stuff happen. And I thought he looked really good out there. I thought he looked composed. And one of the things we talked about coming into this a lot was just the level of composure that he was going to have in this game. What was he going to be all the way there? Was he going to be checked in? Was it going to be a distraction? How was he going to handle the week? What's he going to do about it? And right up to how he left the game, I was impressed with him. Like he made sure. And look, as a reporter, I was pissed. Like I was pissed. I stood in a room for an hour and a half waiting for him to come out. But he stayed out of the way. He got out of the way. He won the Super Bowl. He got out of the way. It seems like one guy caught him on the field. Shout out to John Sokolov, for being the only person to get an interview with him after the game on the field. Found him in the crowd and and talk to him. Everybody else is like waiting in the locker room to talk to him. Fangio's doing interviews. Everyone's doing interviews. Like Kellen Moore never allowed it to become about him. Like right up until the end. Like he helped them win the game. He got out of the way. He let them do their thing and just didn't let it become the Kellen Moore show. He let it be about the Eagles. And as a reporter, I hated it, but as someone, looking at it, I was like, man, this is like the way he handled this the whole week. It seemed like he was really true to himself, didn't want that spotlight, didn't want it to be about him, and he never let it become that.
Well, yeah, and forget all that. Like spotlight, what he's talking about, is he giving the right answers? He had to give the right performance, like you said. I mean, how people like questioned whether like Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn were already thinking about their next jobs because they flopped. And yeah, I agree. We're not going to overhype this and be like, oh, the Saints just hired the next greatest offensive mind in football because of what he just did in the Super Bowl. It was a very good performance, not like an earth-shattering performance, but it's just the total picture. It would have been really, really deflating if the result of that game had been reversed and the Saints were hiring a coach who just flopped on the biggest stage, and instead he was certainly up for the challenge. But it's more than that. It's the entire Eagles season. It's Saquon Barkley's 2,000-yard season. It's proving that he could adapt and do it a different way when he used to be a pass first guy, and then adapt again. They were a run first team all year and took that away and a pass first team. So it's just like everything you could hope. Like if they had like agreed to hire him before this season started, everything he did this year just made him that much more ready for a head coaching job and tons of experience. I mean, he's 36 years old, and the questions we're going to have about him are a lack of experience. But he's like a AAA player that couldn't possibly play one more game in AAA at this point. It's time for him to find out what he's going to do in that role.
Yeah, I like the shot. I like the shot they're taking here. I like everything about it. It's a gamble that I think is worthwhile. But yeah, that was. I like it. I like everything he did. I mean, I liked his whole week. I liked the way he carried himself. I liked the way he called his plays. I mean, I was watching him between every snap on the sideline. I liked how he carried himself on the sideline. I liked how he got emotional when he needed to get emotional. I liked how he celebrated success. I liked how he greeted his players on the sideline. It just, you watch them and it was just like watching somebody that's put together. And you would be surprised if you didn't see those things in someone that's a head coach. And I like that. I like that Nick Sirianni made a plea for him to stay after the game. Like that's what you want. You don't want someone. Look, if someone's leaving us and we're just like, all right, you know what I mean? Like that's not a good sign. You want to be like, oh man, is there anything I can do? That's what you want. So I like that he was even doing that. That was a good vote of confidence. After the game, obviously, it makes you uncomfortable and. I think the thought process here in the fan base is obviously, they're a little bit scared about that. You hear it and you saw other people kind of not be a part of it. And drop out. So that's going to take us into our next topic. What's next in this process in this search? And I think obviously the next thing would be to hire him. As far as I understand, there's not going to be another interview. I would be surprised if there was a need for another interview, another meeting, anything. I mean, I think everybody said what they had to say, and my understanding is that Hayes in the barn, and it's time to take the job. Like that's really what it is. I think it was even kind of put out there before that there would be another interview after, just to kind of give the signal that this is the guy, going to continue the process after. And it also gave Kellen Moore a nice thing to point to every single time he got asked about it this week, that we can continue the process on the other side. It allowed it to kind of not be a distraction, but also kind of let everybody else know, hey, like moving in this direction, it's not done, but like this is the way it's going to go. And we're going to talk to him again after the Super Bowl. But I think that next conversation's, where do I sign? And my understanding is like that's all it's really left to do.
Yeah, and look, I mean, I wondered too. How could we not after seeing people drop out of this, but after seeing past stories like Josh McDaniels and Ben Johnson, and I sent you the one of Dave McGinnis, which is the craziest one of all time. Where
the Belichick one's up there too.
Yeah, Belichick, true. Like where press conferences were being held and everyone was in their seats, and the deal still didn't get done. Of course, you're nervous. But But look, from talking with Kellen Moore and reading between the lines all week, and then obviously all the sourced reporting that we've done behind the scenes, there has never been an indication that he's leaning toward the Saints, but putting off the decision process till after. He feels like a guy who, you know, was pretty convinced himself that that was going to be his next job, and there's been nothing to dissuade us from that. Even as you know, disheartening as it might have been for some people to think, oh no, Nick Sirianni is going to try to keep him while they're having a party and a parade and everything like that. Even Jeffrey Lurie, the guy who would write that check, said, no, we're going to lose him. I think he told that to Jory Epstein last night. Like, unfortunately, we're going to lose him, but we're going to wish him luck. So there's no signs pointing to, you know, other than he wakes up one morning in a cold sweat and he says, what am I about to do? Like what maybe Josh McDaniels did, but he seems enthusiastic about this job. And hey, look, this is a team that just Steve Spagnuolo had no answers for. It's funny that one of the few quotes that Kellen Moore gave that was Saints specific this week was about the battle that they had against each other earlier this year, and he had to pull out some mastery in the fourth quarter. That was one of only 3 games the Eagles that would have been only their 4th loss of the year, and he needed two like dynamic plays at the end of the game. So I think he thinks pretty highly of this team, even though obviously their Q rating is pretty low right now.
Yeah, I mean, there's obviously always a fear until it's all the way done. We've seen it before. I mean, I'm still everything I've heard is that it's done, but like I'm still bracing for you know, okay, like just let's see the real announcement. Like let's see that press release go into the WhatsApp and you know it's ready to go and you know it's done and it's moving and the press conference is scheduled and all that stuff. Like I want to see all that stuff. I want all those details until we see them. Like there's a little bit of gripping and waiting, but it would be an absolute complete shock to everybody on every side of this. As you said, the Eagles owner, you know, I know it would be shocked to the people with the Saints. They would be shocked by it. It would be a shock to the coordinators and the coaches that you know Kellen Moore has reached out to about having conversations this week. Like this thing is it's all moving toward it being done. But
Yes.
you just won a Super Bowl, and you might, you know, you as you said, the Q ratings all the way up, and if you go into next year, like, you know, it's just it is unnerving. I think he's taking the job. I expect it to be done, but until it's done, like there's that little 7% of gray area where it's like, man, I don't know, like it's a little uncomfortable.
I actually think if you're going to be the type of person who has any fears about that, and I've never gotten any indication even that the Saints are as nervous as probably some fans or anyone else, but if you're going to have any fears, I think this was the best possible result of that game. Like if they lose that game, you know, 37-36, do you get the unfinished business? Like I want to run it back with this team and win it. When you like
Kellen Moore is back with unfinished business.
but right, like that's human nature though, isn't it? When you win a game, when you win a game by like basically 30 points until garbage time, you're like, that's it. Like, I don't need to play this golf course again. Not only did I finally shoot a 79 there, I shot a 75. Like, I conquered it. Like, I don't have unfinished business with this team. All I can do is probably do worse next year with this same team.
Patrick Mahomes stole Kellen Moore's dog. Now Kellen is back for more. Yeah, that's a good one.
John Wick.
Yeah.
I do want to say this on the flip side. Look, of course, you know, we're thinking, would he wait till the next job cycle? Because now his name's even hotter, and maybe next year, unfortunately, the Cowboys, the one he really wanted, won't be available. Maybe there's a better job next year. We are not in any way trying to portray the Saints as this great job, but I also want to make sure it doesn't get portrayed as like this has been Kellen Moore wishy-washy, Kellen Moore cold feet. None of that. None of this has been the case for Kellen Moore. Like could have said yes 2 weeks ago, and he's like, let's wait till after the Super Bowl and I'll think more about it. This is just the process. They're not allowed to offer the job. He's not allowed to accept the job until after the Super Bowl. So this has not been a coach putting the Saints on the back burner. This has been like the required process.
Yeah, no doubt about it. All right, that's going to do it for the Kellen Moore talk. We'll be back with a little bit more show right after this break. Ochsner Hospital for Orthopedics and Sports Medicine on Clearview Parkway is celebrating 5 years of exceptional achievements. The hospital's integrated team has successfully performed over 20,000 surgeries using the latest in cutting-edge technology. With nationally recognized services and impactful partnerships, they continue to lead the advancement of orthopedic and sports medicine care in our region.
Rouse's Markets is voted best grocery store in New Orleans, best grocery store in Baton Rouge, Mississippi, Gulf Coast, Thibodaux, Houma, Hammond, Lake Charles, Mobile, year after year. Thank you for choosing us best grocery store on the Gulf Coast. Number one. Thank you.
Thank you.
The number one grocery store
In Mississippi, Alabama,
Louisiana. 1 million customers a week can't be wrong. Welcome to Rouse's.
The NewOrleans.Football show is proudly presented by PJ's Coffee. PJ's Coffee has some of the best drinks that you can find. They have locations all over the city. They have pastries and everything else you need to get your day started. So go check them out. NewOrleans.Football is proudly sponsored by Urban South Brewery, the makers of Paradise Park Lager. I love supporting local breweries, and when looking for a refreshing, easy drinking beer, I always recommend Paradise Park. In fact, I think it might be the best game day beer out there. If you want something a little lighter, try Paradise Light. It's everything I love about Paradise Park with just 96 calories and 2.6 carbs. And if you're looking for a family-friendly place to watch the game, I'd recommend Urban South's Tap Room in the Lower Garden District. They've got 15 TVs, 30 unique beers on tap, and mouth-watering urban smash burgers. The whole family will want to make Urban South their new living room, because at Urban South, they take laid back seriously. Looking for the best insurance coverage at the lowest price? Look no further than Chabert Insurance, the Earhart Agency. They are a local independent insurance agency right here in New Orleans, specializing in home, flood, and auto insurance. At Chabert Insurance, the Earhart Agency, their dedicated team will shop every available carrier in the market, ensuring you get the most comprehensive coverage at the lowest possible price. Why settle for less when you can have the best? Trust Chabert Insurance, the Earhart Agency, to protect what matters most to you. I do. I've been a client of theirs since 2021. Call them today at 504-326-6526 or visit them online at Protected by Chabert. That's 504-326-6526. Chabert Insurance, the Earhart Agency, your local insurance experts. Hardhide Ponchatoula Strawberry Whiskey is an 86 proof blend of aged wheat bourbon, American light whiskey, and fresh Ponchatoula strawberries. Blended in New Orleans, it is not for the thin-skinned. Look for it in your favorite stores, bars, and restaurants. NewOrleans.Football is proud to be sponsored by Firehouse Subs. Make sure you check out their location on Veterans Boulevard. Attention Saints fans, don't let pests and termites invade your home field. Trust the team at Red Pest Solutions to tackle those unwelcome visitors. Call the Red Man today for unbeatable pest and termite control. Score peace with no pest. Visit redpest.com, REDDPEST.com. Welcome back to the Ochsner Andrew Sports Medicine Institute podcast studio. You are watching NewOrleans.Football presented by PJ's Coffee. Our next topic is presented by Hardhide. We caught up with Rashid Shaheed this week, and we're going to play that interview in a second. But I'm just curious, like, after kind of, we've been watching for a little bit, and then you saw some plays last night where Devonta Smith, he gets deep, he hits the home run ball on that nice route concept they had. And Rashid told us that he had been studying this offense and looking at it and seeing how much space there is and how explosive it can be. Do you think Rashid, and this is going to be a topic every single year, I think, for the rest of his career, and we'll probably talk about it again at some other point this offseason, but do you think he can be more of a game breaker in this offense?
I mean, this question is about Rashid, who we just had a good conversation with, and has been a little out of sight, out of mind because he suffered the injury, unfortunately, about halfway through the season. But I mean, I think it's true for both Shaheed and Olave that this I feel like the two most likely biggest beneficiaries of this coaching hire. I mean, one of the very first things we heard about Kellen Moore is vertical is one of the words. When we asked him about his core principles, he obviously said he always adapts, and he has proven that he always adapts to the personnel around him, but he wants to put stress on defenses and be aggressive and attack defenses. I mean, all signs point to him being a guy who wants to make, and that he always thinks of the game as a quarterback, and he wishes he could throw on every down if that made sense. He wants to attack, and he knows how to use, downfield threats like those guys. So I would imagine that Rashid Shaheed and Chris Olave are two of the happiest guys on the team. I mean, they still need to pair them with more of the possession receiver, the physical receiver, the contested catch receiver. But I think they're probably two of the biggest beneficiaries on the whole team of this coaching hire.
Yeah, and I thought last year's offense helped him to get going a little bit more. But look, I think the more and more that you put the offense together, and the more put together it is, and if you can get a good third and fourth quarter calling plays like you did in the first and the second, which wasn't really a thing last year, if you can get like a whole good game plan, like I think it opens it up. And just the more and more you can do, I think the better it'll be. And that was somebody that liked to take shots down the field, Clint Kubiak, but I think Kellen Moore does too. And I just think it's going to be a better offense. I think he's a better coordinator than Clint Kubiak by a pretty wide margin. Like if you're getting a head coach look off of your coordinating of an offense, you've arrived. Like you're there, you've put it together. There's a track record, and I think Kubiak's still somebody that's kind of trying to put that together. And I don't think we've seen it to that point yet. So. Yeah, I think you're in a better system with a better play caller. You should look better. And I think it's going to benefit him and Chris. And yeah, I'm excited to see how a lot of these guys look within it. Even, Alvin, like, does it change anything for him? Like, this is a guy that just called the second best rushing season of all time. And I thought Alvin had one of his best seasons, running the ball as far as it being schemed since 2020. But yeah, even him, I think can benefit from it. So yeah, I'm excited to see how a lot of this stuff comes together. But Philly does have pieces that Saints don't have. So I don't want to. Oh, what else here?
Like Kellen Moore doesn't bring a 2,000-yard rushing offense with him. He does that if you give him the Eagles' offensive line. Not just Saquon Barkley, but also the
a 2,000-yard rushing offense and 2,000 pounds of offensive linemen to go with it. Yeah, no, both those things aren't coming. But we're going to play that interview by Shaheed, and then we'll be back with the Martin's question of the day. All right, we're joined now by Saints wide receiver Rashid Shaheed. How you been doing, man? How's the offseason going?
It's really good. Really good. I've been out here enjoying New Orleans while I can, rehabbing, getting back right.
How is the injury? Like, where are you at with it? What's that process kind of been like?
Yeah, so the process has been long. We've been kind of taking it slowly. I got so much time to recover, so no need to rush. I'll be back running next week, so that's exciting. I'll be ready to go whenever it's time for me to go.
You'll be back running next week, you said?
Yes.
So what stage does that mean you're in now? Like, what's right before running?
Ooh, right before running, really just getting my knee back to bending and 90 degrees, all that flexion and stuff. That's really been the process. Like I said, we've been taking it super slow, so getting the quad strength, hamstring, all that. Just do all the little things.
I know the coach search, they don't clue you in to exactly what's going on, but do you every time you see a name, especially an offensive coordinator name, do you try to research or ask people who played for them and find out what you can about their offense?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I've done my research on a few guys. I think we've interviewed some great coaches, a lot of great candidates, and I know whoever we bring in is going to help our team succeed, and I'm excited for it.
You going to be watching one of these offenses closely on Sunday?
Possibly. Yeah. Wink, wink.
Yeah. That's the right answer.
Yeah, we don't want to portray it like anyone's told you anything because we know they haven't. We know how careful they're being about but if you're doing your own research on Kellen Moore, what do you like about his offense?
Yeah, I felt like it's super spread out. I felt like he uses his athletes in a super dynamic. It's a lot of things that you got to key on as a defense that you might not expect. And he was a quarterback himself, so he's a genius, and there's a reason why he's being put up to be a head coach in this league.
How I mean, you've never really had it, but can you imagine what it might be like for you to have some stability in the offense for just a few years in a row, just to be able to get some continuity, be able to build on it, and not constantly be starting and stopping? Is that something that you're kind of possibly excited about finally having in your career?
Yeah, no, super excited. It's going to be nice to have a possible offensive mind, as our head coach. So yeah, as an offensive guy, you just look forward to things like that, more and more opportunities, getting to know him and having him feel comfortable with me carrying the ball in this offense. So yeah.
And what are kind of your goals for the upcoming season?
Man, it's kind of early. I'm just really trying to focus on this rehab process, get back right, and then when it's time, I'm gonna lock into the things I need to lock into. But I'm super excited, man. Any chance I get to put on the black and gold, each and every season, each and every game, it's a blessing, and I'm looking forward to it.
You're walking around here. Chris Olave is walking around there. Bo Haynes is walking around here.
Yeah.
Because of the injuries that really sapped so much of the season, you think people are sleeping on how deep and talented this receiving core is, and that you got to get right back to it?
Absolutely, and we're going to let them sleep too. And when the opportunity comes, we're going to keep making plays like we have, and more opportunities are going to come. I'm super excited, man. Our receiver room is special. Our team is special. And I know that what we're capable of. We just got to keep putting it on film and do it for a whole season, whole 17 games, and plus the playoffs. So super excited about the new guys we're going to bring in, and we're going to shift the culture around a lot. So I'm excited for it.
What was last season kind of like, just going through it with those injuries? Like, that was kind of nuts. Like, it seemed like every single week, like somebody else was going down. Like, just being part of that, what did it feel like?
Yeah, it was brutal, man, because we had such a high expectation going into the season, and a lot of our top guys were out and injured. It seemed like it kept happening over and over again. And as a player, we just wonder yourself, like, why? Like, how can we prevent it? But, it's just a part of the game. And we just had some, unfortunate luck. But, all the guys are working hard to get back, especially myself. So, yeah, we're just looking to build and keep getting better.
The last one for me is just, what's Super Bowl week like for you? Obviously, It's the first time you probably experienced something like this. So, you wanted to come down here and soak it all in and be around it?
Oh, yeah. I'm trying to get out as much as possible. This super cool experience to have it at home in New Orleans. What better place do you want to have the Super Bowl at? So having a great time there, meet a bunch of great people, see new faces. And, I'm looking forward to this weekend and everything ahead.
Awesome. That's Saints wide receiver Rashid Shaheed. We'll be right back after this. Total Maintenance is one of the largest locally owned home and commercial service providers in South Louisiana and serve the greater New Orleans and Baton Rouge markets. They have a membership program that gets you 2 tune-up visits for AC and heating, as well as club membership discounts of 15% on all repairs, half off of all diagnostic charges, and 3-year warranties on most repairs for membership clients. This is usually priced at the low price of $24.95 a month per system, but if you tell Total Maintenance that you found them through NOF, they'll lower the price to $20.95 per month per system for as long as you keep the membership active. Services include AC and heating service and replacement, electrical service, plumbing service, as well as generator service and installation. They are Total Maintenance. Find them at tm-ac.com or give them a call at 504-841-3300, or if you're in the Baton Rouge area, 225-480-1000. Martin's is your go-to destination for everything merry and bright this holiday season. From an unmatched selection of bourbon, whiskeys, and wines to gourmet food, gift baskets, and catering, Martin's has all your holiday needs covered. Family owned and operated since 1946, Martin's knows the perfect ways to celebrate this season with loved ones. Visit them in Metairie, New Orleans, or Baton Rouge, or shop online for the ultimate convenience. Whether you're raising a glass or looking for the perfect holiday gift, make it an easy and cheerful holiday with Martin's.
Here at the Queen Casino, indulgence knows no bounds. Prepare your taste buds for an extraordinary culinary journey. Start your day at Capital Coffee. Craving something different? 3 Walks Noodle Bar offers a tantalizing selection of Asian delights. At 1717 Kitchen and Cocktails, savor American cuisine with a twist. Or ascend to the loft for an elevated experience. Enjoy artesian grazing boards and exquisite craft cocktails. Join us at the Queen Casino. Your royal adventure awaits.
All right, it's now time for the Martin's question of the day. Martin's is home to a wide selection of hand-picked barrel select bourbon, whiskeys, and more. Martin's, so much more than just wine. And today's Martin's question of the day is a good one. It comes from Cash. He said, rank the likeliness of these options for the Saints. Keep Derek Carr, move on to Spencer Rattler, move on to the draft, look to free agency.
They didn't ask for our opinion, they asked for the likelihood. And so I'm going to predict Derek Carr is the most likely. It's the Saints can do salary cap gymnastics. If Kellen Moore wants to move on from Derek Carr now, if they want to follow what the Jets just did with Aaron Rodgers, Aaron Glenn's coming in. I know we're going to take a $50 million cap hit or whatever it is. Let's start the clean slate now. Let's start the vision out. That's my preference. But boy, oh boy, I cannot figure out a way for the Saints to do that without basically having to restructure every other contract on the books, maybe sign like 2 free agents like Paulson Adebo and Jawan Johnson, and that's it. I don't know if you could even sign a Justin Fields or a Jimmy Garoppolo if you did that. And then, not to mention not being able to spend a lot of other money. So it would be very, very, very hard. I feel like they're probably going to wait one more year before they cut ties with Derek Carr. But it could be done. If they did, it would then be Spencer Rattler and a very, very cheap free agent. There's no way you're going out and signing Sam Darnold. There's no way you're going out and signing any quarterback that even costs $10 million a year. If you cut Carr, you just can't afford to.
I don't know if you just saw my eyes pop, but if you did, I was looking at the Jets salary cap. Do you know what Devontae Adams' base salary is? Like, he's definitely getting cut. Do you know what it is?
Oh, yeah. He'll be available.
Take a guess.
His base salary? Well, I mean, we should have remembered this from before, like $27 million or something like that.
35.6. It's a big number. So, yeah, I mean, you can do that. I mean, that's damn near all the dead money for Rodgers, and you still got cap space. I mean, my opinion on it is the same as the likelihood on it, because like my opinion on the likelihood of it is that Carr's back. Like I think the most likely outcome here is that Derek Carr is back. It's not saying what they should do or shouldn't do. I just think that's the likely outcome here, because it's just impossible to do almost anything else. As we've been saying all along, I think if you're looking at this, it almost needs to be a wave to like whatever coming into the shore after that. And I think like the wave going up is getting rid of some of the old guys, and then it coming into shore is Carr next year. Just if you're going to do it, I think that's the way that it's most feasible. It's not even about what makes you most competitive or whatever, just like financially, what's the most feasible. If you got rid of Carr, like it would almost be like an emotional response sort of to it, just because like you're putting yourself in to way worse shape. And I think you're rotting your roster in ways you probably don't want to if you do that. Like I think if you get rid of them, you still want to be able to do some things to maintain some semblance of competitiveness. And if you got rid of Carr this year, like that's it. That's you got one box under the tree, and that's it. And I don't know. Look, maybe Kellen Moore comes in and says, like, get him out of here. Maybe Derek agrees to like some type of trade where you get some cap relief back or something. But like, I just don't think it's going to happen. Like, I don't see it playing out like that. So I think the most likely thing is that he's back. And then, going down the list, I mean, I guess. Like,
yeah, I actually disagree with you a little bit. I actually think the Derek Carr option is the one you just laid out, which is if you cut Derek Carr, you're basically taking this year off. You almost have to. I mean, unless Spencer Rattler can have this miracle season, or you draft some rookie who has this miracle season, you're not adding any free agents. You're losing Derek Carr. You're kind of not tanking. You can keep trying to win as much as you want, but you're basically taking the year off and resetting aggressively. If you keep Carr, I don't think they're going to cut Demario Davis, who has 1 year left on his deal. I don't think they're going to cut Tyrann Mathieu, who has 1 year left on his deal. I could see Cam Jordan taking a significant pay cut and coming back for 1 more year. I almost think it would be hey, we're going to reset after this year. So last hurrah, this is going to be the last year for all those guys on the roster. Do they maybe try to win 10 games with them? I don't know who's an obvious cut. I don't think another older guy gets cut, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a couple that could probably end up
like
going.
Maybe a Nathan Shepard, Colin Saunders, but not necessarily any of the long.
I think if you're gonna do it, you do it in a way. Yeah, and you have to. Like you have to. I think you don't go in it and say like one last round. Like I think it's okay. We want to reset, and how do you do it over the next 2 years? And I think there has to be. It's like the Superdome. You can renovate one side and then do the other, but you can't do it all at once because like you just literally can't. Like you could be absolutely right here, but to me, I think if you're gonna do the reset, if that's in their mind, I think either resets in their mind or not. Like so, if it's not in their mind, like Derek's never going, and the old guys are just gonna go when it's done, but. I think if it's in your mind that, okay, we want to reset this roster, and boy, I would hope like your coach coming in will be like, hey, we need to reset this roster. And they'd be like, oh, okay, we're going to reset the roster. But I think if you're going to do that, like, I think it's year 1, year 2. And it's just a matter of what order you do it in. But like, man, if you cut this dude, like it's really it. Like, and that's like, you could, and I wouldn't be against it, but it's like, holy shit. Like you'd put Spencer Rattler in there and like, you can't do anything. Like, That's that you're sending a guy out there just to die, really. I mean, because like, who's going to replace? And it's just both sides of the ball. Like, who's going to rush the passer for you? Like Chase Young's a free agent, Jawan's a free agent. There's Paulson Adebo's a free agent. You aren't going to have an offensive line. Your guard's gone. Lucas Patrick's gone. Like, can you afford to even bring him back? Udo's gone. I don't know if you want him back, but Dada Scantling's gone. You don't have another receiver. Like, it becomes really, really hard to, like, he's entering a situation that's like really bad. And I think if you're going to him, you want to be able to support him a little bit, but I don't know. There's really not a good answer here. Like, you could talk me into any of it. It's like, if you want to get to him and see, like, you kind of have to get rid of Carr. Like, you don't want to wait forever to do it. You could wait another year. I mean, I don't know that Rattler's kicking down the door, like, saying, hey, like, I'm here, I'm ready. You have to go to me because that could be your franchise QB. I think that's still very much up in the air. But if you do want to get to him, like, yeah, you do have to cut Derek Carr. It's just, if you're doing it in the sense of like, okay, we want to do this and kind of like rebuild a little bit and still be somewhat respectable, I think he's a next year guy. But you could do it and just be totally ass and try to get the number one pick. And if you don't, like, great. I mean, so yeah, I could see it either way. But
my prediction is that it looks like what we saw with Sean Payton in Denver. Like, he went in there wanting to rebuild and wanting to bring in his own team, and the salary cap didn't allow it. So he gutted out that I think they went 8-9 that first year with Russell Wilson, Justin Simmons, Jerry Jeudy. And then after that first year, he's like, all right, now I can get rid of Russell Wilson, Justin Simmons, Jerry Jeudy, and build my own team. He kind of had to wait a year to do it. I have a feeling that's what this one's going to look like.
Yeah, and I'd almost kind of like to see that. Like, you're kind of setting the stage a little bit. Let the quarterback that's really not in your long-term plans kind of take the hits while you're going through that. And then be set up to kind of hit the ground and go the next year a little bit. Most time
for it, as long as there's a vision for it.
Yeah, and again, yeah, that's a great way to put it. Like, that right there is like that was it. It was a 2-year thing, and it was just kind of like, all right, don't want Russ, but we kind of got to go through it with him for a year. I think that's probably what it is here. But if you want to flip the order, go ahead. I just think it's a little bit cleaner to do it the other way. And again, if you're sending a quarterback on a dummy mission, let it be a guy that's on your long-term vision. Don't let it be the guy that might be, because, you could ruin him. But yeah, I'm excited to just see it start playing out. I'm ready for this hire to be done. I'm ready for the announcement. I'm ready to start talking about coordinators and, start finding out what they're going to do and all that stuff. We got a ton of coverage about Kellen Moore on our website. If you're not signed up, use code NOF, 20% off your first payment. Appreciate you guys for watching. We'll talk to you next time.